Good? All right, we're back on the record.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Appreciate everyone's time this morning. And so I'm here today for the final resolution for the approval of up to $25 million in bonds for Norfolk State University, specifically their student housing complex known as Spartan Suites, located at 2601 Corporeal Avenue in Norfolk, Virginia. If you recall, we did bring this before to start the process, which is referred to as the TEPA process. Since then, it has gone to City Council. It was approved by City Council this past Tuesday, and so now we're here for the final vote. As we talked about before, this is everyone know? Okay. All right. I'm getting a little louder, I guess. That's good. All right. So we'll try this again for the record, for the audio record. And so this is for this resolution is for the final approval for the issuance of up to $25 million in bonds to help with the student complex known as Spartan Village, associated with Norfolk State University. The board gave the initial approval to start the process. Subsequently, it went to City Council. It was presented to City Council on Tuesday evening. It was approved unanimously by the council, and so we're here today before you to request final approval for such issuance. And I'll take any questions you may.
All right. Any questions for Tim?
Yes. Very quickly, just out of curiosity, was the council vote? Did they all vote in favor?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Good. Good to hear.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the final resolution.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Do I have a second? Second. Properly moved and second. Ms. Connor, give a call roll, please.
Mr. Crowley?
Aye.
Mr. Lewis?
Aye.
Ms. Mayo? Mr. Conyers?
Aye.
Mr. Casagrande?
Aye.
Mr. Albert?
Aye. Item 3.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well,
If I can, actually, well, I'll do the intro. So, as the board knows, and everybody knows here, we went through a process to update the strategic plan. We had a strategic planning meeting towards the end of June, and so we have worked in real time in terms of both formalizing and finalizing that process, as well as outlining what year one looks like. And so today, I asked Kiara Brown, who is our Director of Policy and Improvement, and I know I jacked that up, Performance Improvement, so there we go, to do a presentation today on our progress, what that looks like, and what year one looks like. So, Kiara, if you're ready, I'll let you go.
you're on mute.
Are you muted, Kiara? Kiara.
Close.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Good morning. How is everyone?
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Okay, so here we have our presentation for the agency's strategic plan, goals, and responsibilities. This is year one progress overview and facts. So our strategic plan serves as a guide for addressing the agency's goals over the 5 years. We are focusing on aligning with HUD requirements, ensuring financial stability, enhancing customer service, and empowering residents. This presentation again outlines our year one progress, goals, and how performance will be tracked and reported. So goals 1 through 3 are our foundational strategies. Within financial planning and organizational restructuring, we are focusing on creating a sustainable revenue stream. Our achievements include hiring a director of finance and developing an initial revenue projection model. Our pending tasks involve creating systems for revenue tracking and implementing mid-year annual reviews. Goal 2 is development repositioning, where we are advocating for innovative housing designs and climate resilient financing. Our early success includes initiating our outreach to City Council for project approvals, and our next steps include developing a project pipeline and creating a pilot of proposals. Goal 3 is creating our nonprofit affiliates. So we have established the 501c3 entities to attract grants and reduce development risks. And our progress includes drafting organizational documents and appointing our board members. The next step pending is completing the IRS applications and finalizing shared services agreements. Goals 4 to 6 reflect our asset and resource optimization. Goal 4 is the efficient use of HCV resources. We are addressing maximizing housing choice voucher or HCV program impact. There was a staffing analysis conducted and funding meetings have been completed. And our remaining steps include creating financial incentive programs for the landlords. Goal 5 defines our third-party management structure. And we are establishing oversight for properties managed by external firms. A performance review framework has been created, and our next steps include developing metrics and finalizing our cost-benefit analysis. Goal 6 is enhancing our asset management. And within this, we are improving our operational efficiency with better staffing and oversight protocols, and KPI monitoring frameworks are in place. Goals 7 to 9 reflect our service stabilization and technology. For goal 7, we want to preserve and stabilize our properties. We're focused on maintaining aging housing units through repairs and conversions. Our ongoing tasks include improving RAD and Section 8 conversion processes. Goal 8 reflects customer service and outreach. And we are enhancing our transparency and responsiveness through new standards. A communications hire has been onboarded and customer service standards are drafted. Our upcoming tasks include launching public events to showcase the agency's achievements. Goal 9 reflects IT and reporting capabilities. We are focused on integrating the Yardi system to improve reporting and data management. And our progress within this includes workflow reviews and establishing a timeline for implementation. As of now, the system is expected to go live by July 1st, 2025. Goals 10 through 11 reflect innovation and empowerment. Goal 10 establishes new line of business. We are exploring mixed-use housing developments to diversify our revenue streams. Our early steps include defining acquisition criteria and conducting market analysis. And our pending class include involving in creating preliminary plans for innovative housing models. Goal 11 reflects our resident empowerment programs, and these programs aim to increase resident self-sufficiency through education and resources. There's a broader implementation of programs is planned for subsequent phases, and our initial activities include expanding these self-sufficiency initiatives. So here we have our dashboard example in our reporting framework. So this dashboard illustrates how we would report information. So the purpose of this dashboard is to provide a visual comparison of targets versus actual performance for key metrics. And we are using the data from departmental reports and strategic goals to track our progress. This dashboard and reporting framework will be updated monthly by our departments, reviewed quarterly by leadership, and summarized annually. Benefits of our dashboard and reporting framework will be to promote transparency, accountability, and driven decision data making. Here we have a dashboard example. And what this dashboard illustrates is our key performance indicators. This information is not representative of our actual data, but it is fictional to help illustrate how it can be displayed on the dashboard. Here, for the KPIs represented, we have revenue growth, units rehabilitated, customer satisfaction, occupancy rate, and RAD conversion progress. The gray bars indicate our target values, while the blue bars show actual performance. This highlights our progress and also will identify areas that need improvement. So here's our year one recap. A director of finance was hired and revenue projection models were created. There was advocacy for innovative financing and project pipeline outreach initiated. Organizational documents for nonprofits were drafted and the IRS 501c3 application was submitted. Our landlord recruitment and retention tools are being examined and search assistance resources are being identified. We have created partnerships with United Norfolk, Norfolk Public Schools, and Old Dominion University. We have financial literacy programs, youth budgeting workshops, job training, and small business development initiatives launched. There has been an agency-wide customer service standards drafted and services publicized throughout our newsletter and media pitches. Physical assessments have been completed for Sykes and Partria. Section 18 approval is also pending. The timeline established for our Yardi system implementation is July 2025. And then challenges like funding constraints are addressed through our innovative financing and resident engagement has been strengthened. So to wrap all of this up, I wanted to address some frequently asked questions. So first, the purpose of the strategic plan is to guide NRHA in achieving its housing and residence and service goals while aligning with HUD requirements. Our key goals include financial planning, housing development, customer service enhancements, technology upgrades, and resident empowerment. In year one, we've made progress in leadership hiring, program launches, and setting the stage for long-term success. Residents can expect improved housing, better services, and greater access to programs. While challenges such as funding and regulatory shifts are inevitable, our strategic planning ensures that we are prepared to address them effectively. And that is the end of the presentation. If there are any questions, the floor is open now.
Kara, thank you for organizing that flow and presenting it to us. My question is, and I don't know, well, let's see, I'll choose you first. If not, Nathan will pick it up. Have we developed some sort of preamble that kind of describes, and I think I just saw it kind of laid out in frequently asked questions. I got back what I'm asking about. The preamble, which for anybody who we might share our strategic plan with. I'm thinking of our partners at the city because I thought it's noteworthy that, well, without casting any dispersion, I'll just say the preamble in my mind would kind of say, this is what this is, this is what it is, addresses or speaks to, and this is what the process looks like in developing it. Some narrative that serves as a brief preamble, maybe a paragraph that, does that make sense to anybody here?
Yeah.
And if we present it to one of our friends, and I think we're on the same page, that there are some partners that need to understand what our strategic plan is currently. And you see what I'm saying, asking?
Yes, I do. I do see what you're saying. I would redirect that to Nathan, if possible.
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I think we can. I mean, what you're saying, they fed into this, right? They were interviewed as part of the strategic planning process as well. So I think it's good to highlight broadly to anybody who reads it. Here's the plan, but here was the way that the plan was developed.
I would actually follow up and say I do think it is important that in a preamble or at the beginning.
Yes.
I found that many people sometimes read some and then they stop reading.
Yeah.
So it's a good punch to start out with. Yeah. Hey, look, we're all on the same page.
Absolutely.
Literally on the same page at the
Absolutely.
beginning. So I think that's a great idea and point to do so.
I'd like to know, under IT, I think it was number 9, under Yachty training, how many departments or people?
All.
Everyone? And what form of training was that?
It is every person in this room, let alone in this department, or every department is in Yardie meetings several times every week, but if not every day. So it's pretty big.
So they'll be ready for the launch in July.
That is the goal. That is the goal.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you, Kiara.
No, thank you all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I didn't see your left hand come up, so. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
A private little joke. Well, not so private, but Kiara serves,
We know about that.
our economic inclusion subcommittee, and she's recently married.
Okay.
And the first time we found out, she was like,
Lying in the room.
All right. Good morning again, and thank you for the opportunity to come back. Just want to go through some things really quick and spend a little bit of time on one particular item. First, I'd like to start by thanking the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce for the opportunity to present our organization to them in terms of the things that we're working on. I want people to obviously think about Norfolk Redevelopment and Housing Authority in a couple of different ways. We're a housing owner. We have a number of different units, over 4,000 units that we own across the city. We're a housing provider in terms of our voucher program, and so again, 4,000 plus in that department of the authority of over 5,200, and we're an employer of over 230 employees. And so the last time I checked, with a $117 million budget, got something to say. And so I think that's important, but I think it was good to introduce ourselves again to those and see that there is a lot of alignment in terms of what we're doing to the business community, what they would like to see as well in meeting some of those challenges. So I thank them, and we look forward to continuing to participate as part of that. So what I want to spend time on today has been kind of like coming together over these last couple of months. We've been kind of dropping a little bit of nuggets here and there, but you've heard Steve talk about this a little bit in terms of his presentations, but I want to elaborate a little bit further. So here at Norfolk Redevelopment and Housing Authority, and you heard a great presentation by Kiara just a few minutes ago, and certainly this body fed into the development of the strategic plan. But we really talk about three things that we're really focused on here: transformation, preservation, and homeownership, right? That's the meat and potatoes of who we are, right? Besides putting heads in beds, right? That's where everybody. So I want people to kind of understand what those components mean, right? So transformation often is associated with real estate, and that's changing the landscape, changing the way our properties look, making them more efficient. Yes, we are doing that, and that's what we're focused on. But transformation does not just stop at brick and mortar. It really goes to hearts and minds. And so we are focused and heavily focused on working on with our people, right? Our constituents, whether they're in our communities, whether it's voucher program, public housing, or whatever, right? We're focused on working with our constituents, and we see that as an opportunity to be able to do so. Preservation, obviously, and let me just back up in terms of when we talk about transformation, we should not be afraid to talk about things that we do that's helpful to people, right? Because it doesn't stop people who are not trying to help people not come forward with certain ideas about how to do so. But transformation, in terms of the way we define it in terms of our communities, are Young and Calvert, Oakleaf and Diggs, and Grandy Village. Why? Because they're communities that have a number of different types of opportunities, not only just to diversify the type of housing that is provided there, whether it be rental currently and a combination of rental, homeownership, and commercial later, but it also creates an opportunity for us to work with our residents closely and figure out ways of connecting them to various tools to help them move forward. So that's the transformation bucket. Preservation, you hear us talk about that. So that's Sykes, Partrea, Franklin Arms, Bobbitt, Hunter Square, and list goes on. And so we're focused there in terms of engaging those communities. We're focused in terms of making sure that their living conditions are upgraded. It's very difficult, very difficult. Just had a resident advisory board meeting last night. It's hard to do rehabs with people in place, right? It's hard, just what it is. And we're trying to engage people early to figure out how to best connect with them to move them forward. And that's what we're doing. But we're also trying to deliver housing that allows people to age in place, right? And that's important. And so part of the focus I know has been, I have a no-tub policy, right? When you hired me, I told you that, I think, up front. I have a no-tub policy. Why do I have a no-tub policy? Because we serve an older population, right? And so whether you injure yourself, you could be in perfect health and injure yourself, and now you're trying to figure out how to navigate around your home, right? So that's real. We have people who are older, we have people who have disabilities, we have people who are older and have disabilities. You young, strapping 25-year-old guy. And so, so we have to think about the future. We're trying to use universal design as a way to be able to do that so we don't have to continuously rip out and do improvements. And so we spent money to renovate, but now we got to rip it out because somebody needs a reasonable accommodation. And if they need a reasonable accommodation, that's fine. But these are things that we already know, right? So that's what we're focused on. We're trying to make sure, too, that they're connected to different types of resources and services that we can help them along the way. Homeownership. We do down payment assistance and housing counseling, right? One of the things I always ask when I come to any place I've worked, if we've had down payment assistance, how many people have we counseled? How many people have purchased a home? Usually that tells you the delta. That delta is really what's going on in the marketplace, right? We have a delta. It is, I don't mean D9. And so we have a delta. We got deltas working here, that's true. And so, but we have a need for affordable homeownership, right? And so that we have a lack of inventory, and so we need to put our assets to work, right? And that's what everybody's talking about in terms of the degree of production, and that's what we're doing. But let me be clear about something else. We're focused on three things, right? Production is the main piece. Who builds it is what we're very much focused on, as equal as to who lives in it. And creating opportunities to be able to do so is what we want to do. Preparing and expanding opportunities for our HEB clients, right? Because if the average home is, $300,000, and we're paying up to $60,000 or $40,000 or what have you in terms of down payment assistance, that makes that pretty affordable to a buyer, right? Let's think about that. So a while back in the summertime, there was a certain community development director that was quoted as saying, this is a big deal and this is where we're starting and we're going through the plan to plan. He was right. We did. And while people made a lot of hoopla about it, I'm going to tell you why that's important. You shouldn't come to a meeting empty-handed. You should come with your ideas and thoughts together. And so we started the plan to plan. The plan to plan premise was to evaluate prior approaches, right? I talked to a lot of people in this room in terms of what we felt went right or went wrong in terms of the redevelopment of Tidewater Gardens. We talked to a lot of different people, including the people who the lawsuit against us, about that and got their feedback. So we had a number of different stakeholders give their input. We wanted to create an approach that was less intrusive and extremely impactful, and we wanted to have a creation of a people strategy. And so that, to me, is very much important. And so part of the people strategy was based on community engagement, health, income and employment and education. And so that's very much important. So today, I am happy to really talk about that we're turning the page. Why? Because We were at a meeting not too long ago, and I was asked by a great elected official and a very smart man who asked me, "You've been here a year now, what's going on with those communities?" And I said, "I've been ready," right, to have this conversation. So we're happy to talk about that. We're moving from plan to plan to serving while planning. And I want to talk a little bit about that because that's very much important. So one of the things that we talked about in terms of the building process and getting that degree of information was, okay, everybody knows from whether, all right, I'm the Lexington Park guy, right? So I got to wear that with a badge of honor, but I'm okay with that, right? So anything that comes to development, redevelopment is always associated with tear down, right? So whether it's an experience with Ghent, whether it's an experience with Tidewater, everything gets associated with that. So we said, all right, well, what is this? What do we have an opportunity to do? Well, a lot of our communities, if you look at it, they have build first opportunities. And I think once you start talking about build first, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, we have the opportunity to build first in a lot of our communities, right? And a lot of people, the anxiety is raised when they think, okay, we're just going to come in and demolish, disrupt their lives. And that's something to get nervous about, but this is not what that is. So we see build first as a way to do that. We're working through a collective group of partners to enhance the readiness of our communities, and I think that that is very much important. So when we talk about serving while planning, we're talking about community engagement and getting their degree of feedback, going in and doing assessments, doing the resident meetings, the focus groups. We're also talking about health service navigators, health and wellness workshops, promotional clinics, and mental well-being. So let's be real. There's a lot of trauma in a lot of our communities for a variety of reasons. You have to meet people where they are. You can't just assume that somebody is ready to take advantage of an opportunity day one. Some may, some may not. And so you don't want to say, well, you're ready, you're not ready, so therefore I can't work with you. You might be ready, but these are the tools that you need right now to be in a position to take advantage of whatever the opportunity may be. Income and employment. We live and work in an environment that has very rich industries that are looking to employ people, looking to help people start their own businesses to support these industries. And so case management services, job training programs, readiness, youth internship, financial counseling, Section 3 opportunities, and business development opportunities, that is what we're focused on. Education. This is a very education-rich environment, right? We have a very strong working relationship with ODU, Norfolk State University, Tidewater Community College, and so we are going to continue to expand that in terms of things that are being offered to our residents for free, for free, right? And so that's very much important. And so I just want to lay that out. I don't want anybody to say that we're getting ahead of anything in the process, but those are the basis of the things that we're working on. And while we have to go through a planning process to decide what something looks like, and I want to back up for a second and say that the plan to plan or the serving while planning applies to all of our communities, not just downtown, right? I want people to kind of understand that. So if you live in Oakleaf and Diggs or you live in our other communities, we're focused on you, right? It takes us time to get to you in terms of the development, but we can get to you now on the people side. So I think that's very much important. And so I want to just highlight that part. So before we move a break, we can change your mind. Before we cause mass hysteria, we should be able to cause excitement, right? Knowing that we're able to work with an entire household to be able to help them move forward and be able to see themselves wherever they want to be. Lastly, I want to talk on something because I've heard this a lot. I know we talk often about return rates and where people come back to various communities. While we go home every day, every night, to our own respective communities where we chose to live, I don't think it's fair to project what we think is good for someone when they have made a choice of where they want to be. It's just not what it is. We would not accept that if somebody tried to project it on ourselves. What we should be talking about is providing people with a pathway to get the tools So they are in an empowered position to make a decision that is good for them. And so I'm happy to say that we've been planning the plan, we're turning the page, we're serving the plan, and we're going to transform our communities over these next couple of years. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Oh, that was very good.
All right.
Very good. I really like that.
Thank you.
Any questions for our ED?
I just want to make a statement, Mr. Director. I think that last statement that you said is very profound. A lot of people talk about return rates, right? Just emphasizing the fact that this truly is a decision, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a metric that we should sway one way or another, right?
Yeah.
Or to be used as a weapon or to be
Correct.
advantageous to us, right? It's a decision. And I think the real focus is putting people in a position to make the best decision possible. And I commend you on that part, focusing on the people,
Yeah.
focusing on the development, and kind of getting away from the notion of, hey, what's the return rate of people?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not as important as opposed to the opportunity.
Correct.
Right?
Yes. No, I appreciate that. As I said, I mean, we're focused on the person because say we follow the existing model of a third, right? And even though we now kind of fight that a little bit more, but in our own discussions, but you want somebody to be able to say, if I move forward, I can stay in this community if I choose, right? Or and I'm not just saying limited to these communities, because a number of people may raise their hand and say that they want a voucher, and a voucher may be available. But your success rate in terms of being linked to housing can be strengthened through this effort. Why? Because we're focused on mobility counseling. We're focused on trying to make sure that you understand what your credit score looks like and how you can repair it, right? So that, and whatever incentives we need to put in place. We understand too that we have to expand our project-based voucher opportunities because inventory is a little tight, right? And so figuring out other ways to be able to do it. So it is very much comprehensive to kind of open the doors to homeownership, where people may not recognize that that's a real opportunity with your voucher, but it's also a real opportunity for a number of people who live in our public housing communities today that are above 80% of area median income. The other part too, I want people to kind of understand is we often highlight and celebrate and we say that individuals sometimes don't need subsidy. That's great, but we live in an expensive world. They're always going to need, just as like we are, we're going to need affordable housing options. So our job doesn't stop. It continues and it morphs in different forms as we talked about in the strategic plan.
We often hear people talking about return rates in these projects. I think the notion of the return rate in and of itself is overblown.
Yeah.
And that's good. I mean, it's good to have folks come back to their old haunts, if you will. The bigger issue is empowering people to have a choice.
Correct.
And with the housing choices that we have in our city and the region, to me, it's not bad if you can empower someone to move on to something better than where they were before.
Exactly.
And they had the choice to do it.
Exactly.
So I applaud you for that. And as the vice chair said, your statement was profound, but that's the essence of what we're trying to do, build opportunities.
Yes.
And if that means they end up in Ocean View in a situation that they chose, amen.
Absolutely. Agreed.
What you described this morning for me, I think I would like to sum it up this way. For me.
Yes, sir.
Not generally. But I had a friend of mine years ago, we were talking about her profession. She was in banking. She talked about it, having started out as a teller.
Yes.
And I said, man, that would drive me crazy. Friday afternoon, those long lines, people come to in our training, in her training, my training, she was saying, she learned you singularly focus on that person right in front of you.
Yes.
And don't, if the line is 200 people,
yes.
You know, your focus is on that person right in front of you, and that's individualized, a individualized service model, I think, that really helps all of us.
Yes.
And moves and empowers our people. So thank you for that vision you shared.
No.
We appreciate it.
No, and I thank everybody in this room and across this organization because they all feed into that and bought into it. So stay tuned. We got some additional bennies and things like that to roll out in support, because we're not a one-trick pony. But I want people to understand what we're doing. Just as we talked to the resident advisory board last night, folks have to be a real ambassador into this. And I know sometimes people are silent. Silent sometimes means support, but we often need people to kind of voice and say what it really is at the end of the day. So with that, I'll turn it over to Demetria.
Make sure you have your report on administration.
Second.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just a few updates with IT. I'll start there. We're working on a Zendesk, which is a help. It's a help desk where people can call in and whatever needs that they have from IT, it can be tracked, monitored, and we can provide reports from that through the Zendesk. It's scheduled to go live on January the 6th, and it's January the 6th. So
it's how the calendar fell. It's how the calendar fell.
And it's on track to go live thus far on January the 6th. We've rolled out SharePoint. We're rolling it out in phases. IT, HR, and communications are live. And the IT department is working to bring the other departments on SharePoint. As far as Yardi, it's still, we're implementing, and as, who was it? Kiara. Kiara reported, we are scheduled to go live July the 1st. And Commissioner Lewis, we are doing training as we go in phases. Last month, we had training with the HCV department, occupancy and finance. They received training, a week-long training from a Yardi representative. So as we implement, we're also training, and there are future trainings coming along to answer your questions that you had for Kiara. From an HR standpoint, we're still in the midst of implementing the phase 2 of ADP, and that's our form of reporting that comes along with HR. And from a finance standpoint, we've had some major changes in finance since the last meeting. We do have a new controller. His name is Charles Cash. He's sitting back there in the back. He likes to go by Chuck. He is a retired, he's retired from the Air Force as a...
Chuck down so we can see who you are. All right, thank you, sir.
Chuck he's retired from the Air Force as an E5 Staff Sergeant. He has a bachelor's and a master's degree in accounting. He brings a slew of experience to the agency, from financial reporting, analysis, leadership, audit experience, process improvement. And since Chuck has been here, and along with the leadership of our new finance director, Kashawn English, I have seen such a change in the finance department. They're collaborating, they're smiling, they're working together, and it's something that I haven't seen since I've been here. So I want to thank Chuck and Kashawn for bringing that to that department. And then in finance, we're just working and striving to meet deadlines and to bring the financial stability of the agency forward. Any questions?
Anyone? Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brenda, come on. Give our report on public housing.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy holidays to you all. Very early happy holidays. Mr. Sims actually laid out all that we're involved in. It's a lot of work we have going on, but I just want to give you all a quick snapshot of where we are, what we've done. So since our fiscal year, beginning of our fiscal year up to this point, we have housed 127 families. So that's a good number to keep in mind. Also, our occupancy rate increased from 88% to 91.36 as of today. We have opened a total, since we have the call center open, a total of 4,385 work orders to the call center, and we've closed 2,838 of those as of the end of November. So our closing ratio has been at 76%. So that is really good. Now, as of December the 1st, we have added Young Terrace to the rotation. Okay. Our emergency work order closing is currently at 90%. So our staff is really out there working on those emergency work orders. We continue to work with our safety and security team to address the safety concerns in our communities. Part of that partnership is includes enforcement of best practice for lease review, assessment of our household, management training on legal, how to handle the lease cancellations, things of that nature, researching the use of technology, ongoing engagement and partnership with the Norfolk Police Department, and developing an internal focus group to help address those safety concerns. We continue to work with our client service department to address the immediate needs of our families, prepare them for what you've heard Mr. Sims kind of talked about, their future housing opportunities. We are also working towards increasing training with our management and maintenance staff as we improve our services to our residents. And we're working with our compliance team to review, update, revise all policies as deemed necessary. Are there any questions that you have for me at this time?
Curiosity. Give me an example of an emergency work order.
So that would be, let's say, a leak, a flood in the unit, of course, anything that has to do with a fire, bodily fluids can also be an emergency. Heat at a certain temperature is an emergency. AC not working at a certain temperature, so those things.
You get many of those, proportionally speaking, on a month-to-month basis.
Plumbing is what the largest number of calls that we get. Anything that has to do with the sinks leaking or a leaking ceiling. So, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just curious.
You're welcome.
I had a question.
Sure.
I heard you say Young Terrace come online for being a part of your service call
Yes.
program. How has that impacted staffing? How has that impacted the amount of calls you receive? What kind of adjustments are staffing needed to kind of, because that's one of our largest, if not the largest neighborhood. You've added that to a program that's kind of small. So how has that scale impacted the process for you?
So the first thing we did do was increase the staff at the call center to be able to undertake that challenge. As far as the staff in the community, it now relieves them of taking the work order calls and focus on those things that are, not saying the work order is not important, but recertifications, addressing residents' complaints, things of that nature. So it relieves them now to do that. As far as how many calls we received thus far, I do not have that information just now, but I promise you I'll definitely have it for the next report.
And last thing I have for you, back to your bold statement.
Absolutely, I was waiting.
How are we looking with the inspection?
Actually, we're looking very good with those inspections, and I can tell you, out of those inspections, what we've come across is definitely some housekeeping that we're working with client service. All referrals are going to them. They do have classes that are scheduled on Tuesdays and Thursdays to help our residents with that. And then, of course, we are also identifying the things that we need to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Ms. Brenda, you're receiving, with client services, you have referrals going back and forth through client services. how many of those, that you've received been addressed, and what are some of those, referrals that, you know, it's been going, maybe back and forth from client services and or back to you?
I believe that Mr. Norman will be able to answer the number of referrals, that he's received. He'll be able to answer that question and provide a detailed report on that.
But the ones that, have you gotten referrals back to you? Typically, referrals, what have been the referrals?
So the referrals has been anything from financial assistance to housekeeping to mental health, to whatever it is that the residents will come into the office and request of us. And so he keeps track of those referrals, and he will be able to provide the information you need on that.
So have you gotten any of them back?
Yes, we do get them back, but I do not have a number of how many we've received back.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Bennett.
Thank you.
Yeah, take an account. Oh, Sam, I'm so sorry.
I'm back.
Please, I was trying to count these, wait lists. And, I just lost my count. I'll get it again.
Okay, all right, well, I'm back again, and
Glad to see you, man.
yes, just to give you an overview with the Housing Choice Voucher Program and the occupancy, as it has already been stated through Mr. Sims' presentation and also Brenda Fleming with transitioning. The occupancy department has been extremely busy, as has been reported. Our occupancy rate has increased tremendously, and that has been done by the occupancy staff. I've put in my report the number of wait list draws, and I did explain at last month's meeting how when we do wait list draws, we can draw 119 applicants, as you will actually see, based on for one community, and the number of individuals that will actually come in. And then once they come in, we do an actual process to vet them. We do criminal background checks, review their income, et cetera, to determine their eligibility. I've also included in my report the actual number of orientations, because when the families are drawn from the wait list, those that come in, and we have had issues lately, as you can see, for one community, we pulled 119 people off of the wait list. Out of 119, only 29 came in. Out of the 29, only 2 actually went through when we actually did their criminal background check. So that is the process every time we pull individuals from the waiting list for our public housing communities, our PBV communities, and also our housing choice voucher community. But I've given you the number of orientations, how the number of people that are scheduled per orientation. And again, this is inclusive of our PH communities, our PBV communities, and also any type of special programs that we pull from. Additionally, on the report, I've provided the number of referrals that have been submitted to our PBV communities and also our low-income public housing communities, so that you can see how our occupancy department has been extremely busy to ensure that we are housing individuals that are in need of housing. So in addition to pulling individuals from the wait list on a weekly basis, we have individuals that desire to port to Norfolk. We do port-in briefings twice a month for those individuals, as well as for VASH veterans. We actually have briefings every week for homeless veterans coming through our VASH program to ensure that they are housed. We actually expedite it. Once we get the referral from the Veterans Administration, a day or two later, those individuals they come in, we issue their voucher so that they can go out and obtain housing. I've also provided for our actual case management. I've given you all the numbers. I just want to let you know that in addition to doing annual recertifications, the specialists have to do interim changes. One thing, Mr. Conyers, you asked me last month about a motion, or actually something to say this program is a good program. And I'd like to say to landlords, the one thing about it, if a family has a change in their income, they lose their job, they become ill. The awesome thing about the housing choice voucher program, when you are leasing to a person on the open market, they become sick, they can't work any longer. And you have them in there, you have to go through a lot of hoops to get them out when they can't pay their rent. With the housing choice voucher program, when they have a change of income, immediately once it's reported, that next month, the housing authority will pick up and start paying all of their rent. So I've given you the number of interim changes that are completed on a monthly basis. We actually even have some families that have interims every other month. So in addition to doing the annual recertification, those interim changes are completed on the families. Once they report it, we verify it, and that next month, immediately, that interim change is processed. So that landlord will not lose any money. They will not lose any money. On the open market, they will. But on the housing choice voucher program, they will not. Basically, we are continuing to market our landlords. We recently, we continue to put packages out for landlords. We added on 47 new units to our referral listing this past month. We've added a new standing partner. We have our landlord orientation on a monthly basis, and also put brochures in areas so that landlords will know the housing choice voucher program is alive. We want your property. We have families that we vetted, and our families are good. We continue with our project-based vouchers, working with the developers, preparing AHAP agreements, and reviewing their subsidy land reports, environmental reports, just ensuring that the information that they are submitting to HUD is correct, and also to ensure that our families will be able to move into these project-based voucher communities once they're completed. We continue to work with Virginia Supportive Housing on a new venture that's going along with the city of Norfolk as well as the city of Chesapeake, Gosno 2. We already have 60 units over there, but they're going to put an additional 60 more units, and these are specifically for homeless individuals. For the last 6 months, I've had on my report future action for the small area FMRs. Starting next month, it will not be on the report anymore, and today you allow that, the whole harmless option to come. Beginning January 1st, 2025, voucher payment standards will be based on zip codes instead of one voucher payment standard for the city, as we have had in the past. Our inspectors continue to inspect properties all over the city, as well as for the city of Suffolk and Newport News. So, are there any questions?
You mentioned zip codes. Just a curiosity again, the two largest zip codes with the most housing choice vouchers, are they 23 and 04?
23504, yes. And that is one that did go lower. And that is why we've implemented that hold harmless policy. Therefore, they will not be impacted. Had we not implemented that, they would definitely be impacted. But we don't want them to be impacted. So as long as they remain in that unit, their assistance will continue in the same manner that is being assisted now. The second largest one is 23513. That did not lower. The other one that lowered is the 23523.
This question, I was trying to get it to Brenda before she left.
Okay.
But you might know.
Okay.
I was trying to count the people on the waiting list across all properties, all programs, and I think I lost count at like 30,000.
Okay.
Are there, would you know, Brenda, would you know if there were any redundancies in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and people can be on, most people are on almost every wait list that they will qualify for.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'd say, very, very, very good work, in reference to vouchers and the recruitment. You definitely sold me on, that last point. Great on that. One of the things I did want to ask, because I know what you said something, when it comes to pulling people off the list in
Yeah.
order to get qualified for housing choice vouchers. So are you basically telling me that you have a 1% fill rate on that because you were like 119 people? You get it's like a 1 or 2%, you know?
Yes.
Is that normal?
That is normal right now, and the waiting list that I actually manage is not just for the voucher program, it is for the LIPH program and all of the PBVs. But yes, because what happens, low income public housing, when the individuals apply, they are required to report changes in their address, and unfortunately, they don't always do that. So they may have applied last year, and when we send them the letter to come in, the letter comes back in the mail because they moved and have not reported that information. And we actually have an applicant portal where the families can go right on the portal, put in their PIN, and update their address, along with additional information about their family. They may have changes in their status. They've now become disabled. They are no longer employed. They may have had additional family members to move in, which will actually change their status, which will change their position on the waiting list.
So, yeah, and I know some of those things are outside of control, and it sounds like, I was going to ask another question, but it sounds like you guys have already created a portal to kind of make it easier for people
Yes.
when they're going through this process. But yeah, that's, I can see a 1% return on that type of thing could give a negative perception of what we're doing. So I just say that I hope that we're really over-communicating in that aspect.
We are.
Okay.
Because we just don't give them one appointment.
Yeah.
If they don't respond to the first appointment, they get a second appointment.
Okay.
We even reach out to families on the telephone as well, and due to the I'll just say the livelihood of many of our persons that do apply, numbers change, and that information isn't reported. We call them, we send emails, we really attempt to reach them so that they can come in for the appointment, because our goal is to house them to ensure that they do have affordable and also decent housing.
Absolutely, yes. I can see people moving that and saying, hey, I didn't get anything, I didn't hear anything, so that's great work.
Right.
Great work.
And also, another thing that we do on a yearly basis, we send out an update letter. It's actually called in the HUD world a purge letter. We send it to the the applicants, and they are required to update the information for their application and return it. And that, when we do that, those that aren't returned, they are removed from the wait list because it's considered, they may not need the housing anymore, but are non-responsive. And we do that on a yearly basis.
Ms. Pam,
Yes.
maybe I'm overlooking it, but do you still have people who report zero income?
We do.
And what number, is that in your report?
It isn't in my report. We have approximately 187 individuals on our HCV program with zero income. And they are required to complete a zero income certification so that we can maybe glean that they actually are getting income. I know you remember that process that we had to go through, but we still have individuals with zero income on the program.
Okay, so they do their certification, and are they getting referrals to client services?
Family self-sufficiency program, yes.
Okay. Could we maybe add that to the report so we can see how they're trying?
I will. I'll add that to the report next month.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Pamela. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
thank you, great.
Great.
You're welcome.
We'll talk
Okay.
Great report.
You spread sunshine when you come up here.
Wonderful. That's my goal. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, who's next up, Steve?
Yes, sir.
First and foremost, I want to make sure everybody's aware, next Tuesday, there's a ribbon cutting for the Aspire building. Again, we have, it is a project done by others, but we have 21 project-based voucher units over there that are part of the CNI project. And again, Pam's group who have been working very diligently with the Richman Group, which is the developer over there, making sure that folks get in there. So, but 1 o'clock on the 17th, there should have been a notice. I don't know if you guys got it. There should have been a notice out to all the board members inviting you out to that. If you didn't receive that, let me know, and I'll make sure that it gets to you. Okay, very good, very good. Beyond that, I just wanted to inform the board, next month, we took this to the development committee. We'll actually have to still get it to the finance committee, but we're coming to the board next month for bonds, for the first meeting on the bonds for the Sykes project. That project is moving forward now more at a rapid pace. Our goal is to submit for tax credits in March. So we're lining up the bonds. We'll be going out for the general contractor and getting everything in place so that we're ready to submit in March. Any questions on that project? Sort of going reverse, well, preservation. I don't want to talk about home ownership. We're working on Moton right now, and we are moving forward to get to site plan with the Moton project. We have two submittals that we're going to have to do overall for the new work on the new site plan for the project, as well as for the demolition documents for the warehouse that's currently out there. So that will also be going to site plan. We still have a coordination around all of that, but we're trying to keep that project on pace so that we can get through site plan and get to construction of the infrastructure next summer. Right now, we're looking at about 88 for sale units out there, a combination of single-family homes and townhomes.
That includes the Globe Iron site?
It does not include the Globe Iron site.
So just the Moton site?
Just the Moton site.
Has there been any movement, collaboration, coordination with the city with regard to the Globe Iron site as it may impact that project?
A couple months ago, we had a internal charrette with city staff, and since that time, we have not had any additional ones, but there needs to be additional coordination between us. They're fully aware of our site, and coordination on the Globe site as well as the Dreamkeeper site.
Have they firmly acquired the Globe Iron site yet?
They do. The city has ownership of the Globe Iron site.
And the warehouse you mentioned to demo, who's that property?
We've owned that warehouse as part of the when they brought in the passenger rail. NRHA got that site as part of that deal, and it's got to be 7, 8 years ago, a while ago now.
I was headed out to the great site out there, St. Julian.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time, I saw the Amtrak bringing trains in to that barn they got back there. I'd never seen them use that track. Now, I knew it was back there, but I'd never seen a train or seen them using it. They carried about 12 cars back then.
Yeah, the passenger rail that goes between here and up to DC and north, they side the train overnight, and they do the clean outs and prep it and get it ready for the next day. So it's not so there is a rail line back there, but it's the stopping point. And again, it's not a throughway. It's just where they side the train.
I knew that when it's actually designated as that. But I had never seen them back there until I was late in the afternoon when I went back over to Calvary.
I want to say I'm happy to hear the progress that's happening out in Moton, because when we did the relocation, many years ago, I guess,
14 years ago.
Yes. And then that whole area was leveled down. So thanks for the update. I'm happy to hear.
And again, as part of that project, we did replace 50 of the units back at Broad Creek.
Mm-hmm.
So the Broad Creek 5 project, And so Moton, you know, the community decision was always to have that as home ownership, so we're proceeding with that now.
Yeah.
And we've had fits and starts, we've done numerous plans out there, and Mike can attest to that too. We've always gotten this close and then something happens, but we are on the path this time to getting that move forward.
Yeah, that's so multi-site, right? Nathan, did we ever, spread the city out on who's doing who?
We're proceeding as the documents dictate.
Other aspect, and Nathan already covered it, but again, moving from plan to plan to actual planning. So in January, we'll be kicking off the master planning for Young and Calvert. So we will have schedules out at beginning next month and start setting up all the various meetings. We had the RAB meeting last night and went in discussing the overall project, not in specifics, but in the overall. And I thought we had some pretty positive responses back from the RAB. Again, I think the consensus around the table, everyone's like, it's time. It's time. So let's move forward. And particularly as Nathan had outlined, the serve while planning is key. We talked a lot about that last night, and the RAB board members responded to that very well. Everyone can see this is the critical need for moving that project forward. So with that, I was going to kind of keep it short today, just because it was late night last night. But I was going to keep it short today, but really just wanted to open for questions. I put a lot of information in the packet. We had the USI annual report in there. We had the SPAC meeting report in the packet. I can see you all read that in great detail, as well as our ongoing reports that we do on capital fund, on HomeNet, on real estate and other matters. So I just want to see if you all have any questions from that material.
All I'll say is thank you for the comprehensive report reading. I enjoy. I do enjoy reading about it, so it's easier to digest in that format. So thank you very much.
Steve, with regard to Aspire, we have residents in there now, do we not?
We do. They are already moving in. In the report, I think we've identified 10 former Tidewater families that are part of the project. I believe that number's at 12 now. We have a weekly meeting with the Richmond group and going through that. Again, Pam's occupancy folks are core on that and moving folks through. Yes, but we have move-ins already, so they're quickly leasing up, and it should be leased up probably within the next month.
And regular voucher holders.
Yes.
Live there as well.
Again, Pam. So again, I think it's a testament, again, the partnerships, just to put this out there, we talked a lot about this last night, is that this is a situation where we're able to use our project-based vouchers as part of a RFP out to the development world, and essentially had another developer build units that are available not just to our PBV clients, but also to our HCV clients, and provide affordable housing. It's a great partnership that they have. It's the Richmond group with the ISA group, which is a faith-based group, and just they've done a wonderful project over there, and again, show the transformation of public housing into assisted and as well as affordable housing and all the other amenities that come with that and all the other services that can come with that from other groups that we'll see over there. You know, I can call out, the Riverside Station project, in 23 that opened, that was part of it. Market Heights, even though not counted as part of the Choice Neighborhood program, we have 40 PBVs over there and working with them too. Again, it's a private development that we leverage our resources, even if it's just, not just, but our vouchers are very important, and they're a way to get more affordable housing across the city of Norfolk and actually even outside of Norfolk in some cases. So this is a situation where the authority is trying to make a difference by building the pool of affordable housing options for our clients.
I don't know if this is in your bailiwick or not, but I noticed over in the Tidewater St. Paul's project that a great deal of infrastructure work is at a highly robust level right now.
Yes, it is. It's under the CNI project. It is the city. what they are working on right now is the phase 2 infrastructure for the project, and they're also getting ready to kick off for the Blue Greenway work. You'll notice that they have fenced off the entire site. That was done as sort of a precaution. We had situations where a lot of kids were going back and forth across the site, particularly to get to Ruffner. In essence, they're walking right through a construction zone. So, but yes, the full-on infrastructure work on there, so all the stormwater work, all the new roads, you'll see, just really outside the window, but the new Freemason is now in place. They've got the lights in place now, and they'll start the, all the testing and burn, whether they call it the burn rates on that, for beginning to open and operate that, being able to operate that street. So it's all moving forward. You've got the window, the phase 2, the building 17 and 18 are coming along quite nicely. It's all coming together now. It is a construction zone, but it's also very exciting.
Any idea timeline-wise when that infrastructure work might be getting close to an end?
They've started in the summer, and it probably won't be complete until late next year. And that's just for the phase 2 work, and that doesn't include the Blue Greenway work, which will continue beyond that.
Steve, I think great report. One of the things I do want to kind of encourage from a staffing perspective is that we keep a cheat sheet on not only the places that we have project-based vouchers within the area communities that we're creating, but in other areas that we have as well, because all of them count, right? Because when people are going to talk about this third thing that's kind of the new model, they're going to want to know what happened to the rest of the people. What about the opportunity, right? And not only opportunities in our community, but we can talk about places, other areas where we work with other developers, where we have spaces that people can move as well too. So we're have efforts on all fronts. People need to be able to quickly go to that information and say, hey, look, Market Heights, we have 40 units. Over here, we have 50 units, So you can kind of add that up to be able to say, hey, there's a lot of opportunities out there, not only in our communities, but we're partnering with other communities to create opportunities as well too.
Yeah, and I'll get with Pamela, and she's maintained a listing of all of our PBB projects out there. It's in her report.
Yeah, and everybody needs to know that, because everyone's going to be asked, because we're going into a large transformation. What, $1 billion, you think? $1 billion worth of work, it's going to be some conversations where we're going to need armor to be able to say we're doing the work.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good job. We have client services.
Good morning, board.
Good morning.
Did you know?
Did
Did you guys know that Bill Belichick went from the pros to the University of North Carolina to the University of North Carolina football team? That's important. That's vital information. No, seriously, Bill Belichick went from the pros to the University of North Carolina. He said he did that because he wanted to educate and train and prepare people, young people, to go to the next level. We have that in common with them. That's the thing that Norfolk Redevelopment and Housing Authority has in common with them, especially during this time, what we call serving while planning. So we are serving while planning. So we're preparing our residents for the next level.
I would like to say
Yes.
that that's a wonderful analogy. I fully supported it behind it, with one exception for the record.
Yes.
There will be no ball deflation going on while we.
No.
But otherwise, I fully support it.
No, I like that.
I like it.
I have an analogy for that.
Okay.
Because we're bringing our own balls. We're already bringing our own balls.
Fair
So
enough.
we are actually serving while planning. So we're preparing people. And the great thing about that right now, while we're serving while planning, if you would look at the number of partnerships that we've established, and those partnerships are not just for those that we're looking at immediate transformation with. This goes to every community that's in our portfolio. So we're preparing, we're providing services, we're partnering with those who have that same common interest that want to serve those in the city of Norfolk as well. So that's where we are. One of the things I note up here was that housekeeping. We do get, for us in terms of housekeeping, Brenda mentioned something, most of our referrals that came from property management was those of housekeeping. And there was quite a few. At this moment, I cannot give you that number. However, we do have that number. But there's been quite a few of those referrals. So what we did was, instead of trying to handle those housekeeping referrals and sending a resident service specialist to deal with that individual, now what we have is we have monthly, twice a month, at 2 different locations, housekeeping workshops that are being held at Calvert and Grandview Village. In addition to that, we have financial literacy. We had a lot of referrals, and I can't give you that number at this moment, for those who were looking at financial literacy for a lot of different reasons. We host 3 workshops a month for financial literacy at the downtown office in this room here, Calvert Square, and also at Oak Leaf Forest. So we have a way of addressing those specific ones that was at high volume for financial literacy and housekeeping. In addition to that, what I wanted to say is that with our different partnerships, we are in a better position in which we're looking at how we can serve those who are going into especially employment opportunities. While we're looking at the opportunities and talking about the opportunities that for our residents as we serve while planning, we're creating those pools of folk who are ready for employment opportunities. We have pools of folks that we're actually tracking and preparing them to go into those training opportunities. And most of those training opportunities, if not all of them, they're specifically designed to provide credentials, certifications, and licenses. So as we look forward to what may happen in terms of bricks and mortar or things being moved in 2 or 3 years down the road, we are preparing and are in a great position to assist those folks when those things happen. And what gives us the biggest head start, I think, more than anything, is that we were proactive and looking at providing mental health services to all of our residents. The mental health piece is huge. And as we talk about folk being moved, being relocated, we have to take consideration what we have to assist them with in terms of mental health services. And I'm proud to say within all our communities and mid-rises, we do provide that mental health service to all our residents in that particular matter. And it's great to have those partners who actually provide those professional services on hand. And with that in mind, I will end right here, and thank you so very much for your time. Commissioner Lewis, I hope, but not hope, as we create and we will have this in place, our reporting will look different starting in January. What I will do is make sure that there's a spot up there that will track the number of referrals that we receive across the board.
Yeah, I thank you for that, Mr. Norman, because I believe if we don't know who's in the pool,
right,
or who's in the pipeline, or maybe how they're getting services and what services, and if those services are getting them to the next level, as you mentioned, because it seems like even from the 180 families reporting maybe zero income, we need to know. I'm not trying to get in the weeds on this, but I just think we do our residents a great disservice if we're not tracking them and seeing them through fruition to their goals. Similar to what FSS, requires. If you have 3 to 5 goals over a 5-year period, we kind of track them to make sure they're on point with where they're going in FSS.
Well, Commissioner, you make a good point, because when we talk about FSS, that's the ideal time that we want participants to come in when they're at zero income. Absolutely. Because they see the greatest benefits of being in FSS as they continue, and we provide those additional services, especially employment services, where they can actually see those escrow accounts grow. And that helps in terms of repeated behavior, in terms of helping them to save. And when they get to that point, that particular behavior continues on. And that will help them in the long run as we look at preparing them for not necessarily home ownership, but just being able to provide and strive in this economy. So the great thing I like, and I'm proud to say, I'm part of the new strategies that we're doing with NRHA. Most of the workshops that we go to, people are always talking about affordable housing. And I like to look at how we're doing it, and we're actually providing affordable housing, because in many ways, people are trying to change that terminology to talk about attainable housing, because the cost of actually providing that affordable housing and being in that revenue. So I want to say to you that we will provide those numbers, and we do want them, especially those at zero income, that 180, we do want them in FSS.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Because I think if we have a snapshot of what is happening with these residents that are in the parking lot, that are ready to take advantage of opportunities that come to us from our partners, you know, if we could be tracking that, and we don't speak in generalities, we'll just have a snapshot of how these families are being served.
Yes, sir. That will be.
Can I say on that particular piece? I think I think we have to be mindful. We serve over 10,000 plus people, and so whether you make 0, 30,000, we should be making the same concerted effort to all those individuals, right? And so I think, but at the same time, I think we have to kind of be mindful too, if we're tracking, because it kind of opens the door and saying, why are we not tracking everybody? But at the same time, I mean, we are tracking folks. I think particularly whether they're in public housing at 0 or in the voucher program at 0, we definitely want to make sure that they're connected to resources. The voucher program obviously makes more sense. Why? Because because those individuals across the voucher program, the less income they make, the more budget authority we spend to cover them. And that means that's less people that we can serve. And so, but I think at the same time, we just have to kind of look and say, we're going to continue to market these programs to everybody, not just the people that are at 0% or the 180 that are at 0, but we're going to do this to everybody. And again, just like everything we're talking about, it is voluntary. And so we do, but we have to continue to reach out to them to make sure that to make sure they know that these opportunities are available and how can they best take advantage of them.
And I think what I'm talking about, ED, with a snapshot, is the idea that if we're saying we have housekeeping issues, well, how many people are experiencing housekeeping issues, and how are they moving through that? What numbers moving through that process? We have needs for employment. Well, how many people are?
I'd rather us have supporting data that says, like, what's the universe, what our efforts are to outreach to those who accept that degree of assistance, and what their progress is. I think those are the factors that are very much achievable, because we're always going to start, again, with the reference to the Delta, we're always going to start with that Delta in terms of the amount of people we serve. There's always going to be, and as we talked about, we had a meeting earlier this week with the Boys and Girls Club, Workforce Council, and United Way. And so even when we were talking about how we would start out, we already kind of made just a general assumption that usually the first class is always the smaller of the classes, so we hope for a larger. And then it gives us an opportunity to kind of grow from there. So I think from this perspective, I think we know the Delta in terms of the amount of people. We have the information. I think it's best for the board collectively to, what is that number? How are we reaching out? How is the agency reaching out to those individuals in terms of outreach and continued outreach? How many people have we brought in, and what are those outcomes at the end of the day? I think it keeps it very frank.
I would like to say, to speak for myself, I know we haven't sought to make any definitive answer or response here, but I don't want that much information. I understand why you want it, because you've worked it, you know what that's instructive, what that tells you, and I really don't have a place to disseminate that, but I know why you want it, because that gives you a greater understanding of what's really happening down in there.
Yeah, because we're going beyond brick and mortar, because that's what we're saying.
Right.
We're saying we're just more than brick and mortar.
Right.
We're dealing with residents who we're trying to help to thrive and or to come up the economical.
No, I get it, and I know what you're looking at when you say that.
Yeah.
I was looking at the, you thought you were through, didn't you? I was looking at,
Yeah.
I was looking at the overall number of what, let me get this thing back up, what I was looking at. I was looking at this overall number, total number of individuals served on this report, and the number of individuals served, 200.
Mm-hmm.
The target was 200, actual it was 277, right?
Right.
That's good, that's good. You got more people than you anticipated. Next line, and here's where it gets to it's coming into your backyard now. The number of individuals obtaining and maintaining employment. The target was 240. The actual was 201. The number of individuals increasing annual earnings. The target was 100. The actual was 89. The number of individuals graduating or achieving economic self-sufficiency, target was 15, the actual was 12. In each one of those cases, without judgment, when the onus was put squarely on the resident's shoulder, we came up short. So I know why you want the information, because that tells you why they're happening, right? Yeah, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I understand it, but that's good enough for me, because there's nowhere else I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
And those are not actual, those are percentages.
Right, percentages, that's right. So,
Okay.
Thank you. And the last point, as I walk away, did you know, on.
no, wait.
Oh, we got some more? Oh, okay.
You're gonna look like you got diamonds on your back.
Okay.
You better go than you do coming.
Okay. But in addition to that, on Saturday, the 7th, we participated in an activity where we had HCB to receive 32-inch TVs. So we were able to give away, with the partnership of one of our partners, 25 32-inch televisions for Christmas.
You didn't call me.
Well, that's I did. But you didn't update your information where I could contact. In addition to that, on Saturday.
On why they drive.
Yeah, on Saturday, on this Saturday, we have over 2,000 toys that will be given away at the Southside STEM Academy to our residents. In addition to that, we have a play that will be conducted by our Vivid Arts Department, and our young people are actually in that play, which deals with mental health and our intergenerational program. So we'll actually do 3 15-minute vignettes at the Southside STEM Academy. So we have things up and going for the different holidays where our families are participating and engaging. So every year we like to say this is going to be the best holiday ever. Yes, sir.
I actually had a question, but before I get to it, I want to make a comment on something that came up after I had already formed my question. I love the fact that you're doing plays, like bringing the arts, having them participate in that. I think that's just a wonderful experience and the kind of thing that we ought to be thinking about more. Once again, I mean, we talked last time about how it's a home, not a house. It's just a community, and those are the types of interactions that cause community. So I want to applaud that. My question that caused me to raise my hand in the first place was, with those gifts, the toys or the television, how is it ascertained who is the recipient of that, other than the fact that Mr. Fraley failed to
we put the word out. We say you sign up. There you go. You sign up for these opportunities. You sign up for the opportunities, and we give you a deadline in which you can sign up. So the hopes is that we're able to provide those opportunities for everyone that signed up by that deadline. In addition, we were gifted some additional ones to make sure that we provided HCV in those former residents that were in Tidewater Gardens. We work with their case managers to identify those 25 that was at greater need that could use a
Okay,
particular
that-
TP. So those referrals came through.
Gotcha,
So we
okay.
do have some by referral, and for the most part, they're sign up. We send information out to sign up by a particular date, and all those who sign up.
The reason I asked, I'm sorry if I just cut you off, I apologize. The reason I asked, I just wanted to ensure that if there was a need, for instance, that, 40 people needed it, but we only had 25, where we've used the word delta quite a bit, where we were able to make up the delta, I wanted to ensure that was that.
And we have more than just one delta in the room. We have other deltas that come through that I won't say, but they actually come through and have provided for us over the years through our FSS program, and I want to say the name. I don't know if I'm able to do that, but that organization, one of the people that's in that room, has always given to NRHA and just people in need, and through their partnerships. Actually providing to that person. I can't. Well, there's a group that our wonderful commissioner is with, and every year for the number of years I can't even remember. Exactly. Commissioner Terrion has made sure he has his group that he works with has given to our FSS department, making sure that those families have things. He has literally. His team has gotten in a truck and has went with us and went door to door as we delivered to those folks who were in need.
Commissioner Terry, I knew you were talking about that.
There you go. So it always seems as though when there's some additional things that are needed, there's always been somebody who has come through. So it worked out. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Diligence, your hard work, the outstanding way you presented to us, the length of time you provided at podium. All right, any, board committee updates?
Yeah.
Development committee, like Steve kind of told everyone what we kind of have going on as well as our ED. I think one of the biggest focuses right now is the Sykes project that's coming up. Huge project, a lot of navigation. It's our older community where we're going to be doing some relocation, so it's very sensitive. I think we're doing about 26 units at a time, which is a good number. So we're really in the planning phase of how to coordinate that. They can be hired on an organization. People first, right? Who's
J&G. J&G will work.
They'll be a part of the relocation process for our older community. What I really like about that process is that it's an individual consultation with our residents, right? So this is not a mass, hey, everyone's going to this particular area. I like the fact that it's well thought out. We're really going into the individual needs of each resident, whether they're mobile, whether they have certain handicaps or needs, and we're providing specific location for every individual that's being moved. I think one of the things as well that we're doing, just getting a little bit into the details, is that we're trying to find locations that are within the area where their normal working life is, or living life is. So we're not trying to move people if they live uptown all the way downtown to a different area, right? So I think that's very important. It's a really huge transformation, much needed. That site definitely needs the love. So that's one of our biggest things that we discussed outside of both and the things that are coming. So happy to report that. I think that RFP will be out in the next couple of weeks or so. So we'll have that master developer doing that. We'll be able to provide much needed upgrades to people with those communities.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to report that on December the 3rd, Public Housing Committee met. The ED is always there. ED was available, Ms. Brenda Fleming, Ms. Karen Rose, Steve Morales, Commissioner Amy, by Zoom. I'm just very pleased with how this committee is moving forward and addressing issues facing our communities, PR and communication, telling our story, and that was talked about in our committee. the chief of police and chief intel, security is meeting with them on a regular basis. Community service board and community engagement in our communities, those things are happening. Just very pleased with that committee. The second committee on Tuesday, December the 10th, we met with Ms. Kiara Brown, Brian White, Edward Davis, and those guys met by Zoom, and of course with the ED, and Mr. Norman and myself. And that particular meeting had to do with dealing with the DEI, and of course the chair serves on that community as well. He had a family situation and was unable to be there. But I think we're at a place now with the economic inclusion, and that's what that committee is, economic inclusion. We're at a place now where we'll be presenting soon to the committee a kind of a compilation of what we've been doing over the past several months, where we've completed our vision, our mission statement, it's in print, our guiding principles in print, and so I guess in the coming month or so, we'll be submitting a hard copy to the board so that you all can see the progress that committee has made, and it's just phenomenal, is what I'll say. So I enjoy these great professionals that we're working with. They do an upstanding job, so I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other committee report or updates? All right, we'll go around with our commissioner comments. I'll start with Dr. Fraley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and first of all, before I forget, I'd like to wish everybody a very wholesome, healthy, and happy holiday season. Amen. Let me defy some of the media going around and just say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Good. Mr. Chairman, I've been here now for just over a year, I think. And one of the things that has constantly struck me is that we find ourselves defending ourselves. I was listening to Nathan's remarks, many of the department heads, and it's almost like we're reporting to bill favor. And I have no problem with that. We need the empirical data. I say all that to say the Norfolk Redevelopment Housing Authority has accomplished some enormously wonderful things over the years, and we're continuing to do so. And too many of our citizens, whether in power or regular citizens, have negative impressions because we seem to present ourselves as a whipping board. And I would just like for us to consider, myself included, I'm not pointing the finger at anyone. Let's tout our accomplishments. Let's talk about the things that we have done that have been successful. Can you say Broadfleet? Can you say Middletown Arch, Stonebridge Crossing? Those things. Can you say East Beach? Those things are tremendously enormous accomplishments for a city like Norfolk, who has had a history of not being open to expeditious attention to change. And there's an old saying that three things in life: death, taxes, and change. And things are going to change whether you want them to or not. And I'm not sitting here and saying we've done everything perfect. We haven't, but we've learned, and we're embarking on things now. St. Paul is a huge one. Few cities of our size have undertaken anything like that. That's nationally. So I just think we need to stop being defensive boxers and start hooking and jabbing a little bit more. I just let people know that we're doing positive things out there.
That's right.
It's always the squeaky wheel. I don't mean to disparage any of our residents who come before us and have complaints. They're legitimate. We need to address those. And we need to open the door to that more often. But that shouldn't be the norm of who we are. That person who comes here and goes back to the neighborhood and says, I wouldn't have to get them straight, I had to tell them about all the problems we have. Well, your problems aren't everybody else's problems. That's what I'm saying. And, but we need to get somebody else's to speak up. And, we need to be speaking up ourselves, setting the tone for the accomplishments that we've had over the generations. I'm not talking just yesterday, 5 years ago, since the 40s, including our mistakes. NRHA has done a more than incredible job of advancing opportunities in this city for the residents of the city, and particularly those at the lowest round of the socioeconomic ladder. So I would just want us to keep that in mind as we go forward, presenting ourselves to the public, rather than say what we've done and appear to be asking for somebody's acceptance of that. Let's take our chest out a little bit. Amen. And let's just say, this is what we've done, and we're proud of doing, we can try to do even better as we go forward. Forgive me for the soapbox.
Oh, no, I think it was, noted and well-deserved, Earl, you're saying that. Thank you so much. Alan?
I have nothing to say other than that every single meeting that I have been in since I joined, and, got that second appointment that took so dang long. I would say that things are looking better, and like if you had to draw a line graph, things are coming in better and better, more professional, things are getting done faster, the quality of work, the excitement that you can see getting it done, the staff abilities when they walk up there and they tell us what they've done, it's just the improvement is extraordinary. And I've been in front of a lot of businesses in my career, and though we don't really look at this as a business, it to some extent is, and more than some extent, and it is very impressive to see on a monthly basis such an incremental increase across the board on everything. And so I want to applaud from the top all the way, I guess I'm probably at the bottom, all the way down to the bottom, and everybody in between on the hard work that I know is getting done, because it's noticeable, and I appreciate it, and if I appreciate it, it must be appreciated by those that are actually getting help. So thank you all very much, Mr. President.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Lewis?
I want to briefly say that, we're embarking on a new year, 2025. There's been some great work done with a lot of great professionals. I feel very pleased and at ease with coming to the committees that I'm on, coming to the Board of Commissioners meetings, working collaboratively as we've done over this whole entire year. And I looked at the great progress that we have made. And I just want to just say emphatically, I think we have the right person at the helm who is leading in such a tremendous way, and a great deal of professionals who support that vision. And so I'm very excited to serve, and thank you for that opportunity.
All right. Elsie?
Yes, I think it's awesome. It's about time that we upgrade these projects. Because I grew up in a project all my life. Yeah, all my life. I think it's good for the elderly, to have somewhere. But when you said something about cleaning, y'all got programs for cleaning. What about the elders that can't clean?
Right.
Well, it's always the opportunity to connect them again to the resources, because, for many, I know firsthand, like if you are a person who has served our country, some of your benefits go towards, Medicare, Medicaid, have various programs that can help people in terms of providing them with assistance. So that's a good point for something else for us to focus on.
That's what I just worry about the elders.
Thank you, Jim. Vice Chair Conyers.
I just want to say this, that's why you're here. That's right there. Yeah. Nobody thought of it. I was like, ooh. You're still feeling yourself moving around. I just want to say that to you. That's why you're here. Respect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what we doing? 20 wrap up or something?
Comment.
Yeah, just comments for the end of the year. I think everything was already said. I just wanted to say, I'm grateful to be here, during this time of transformation. I think it's a unique time to be with this agency. And it's a unique group of people here, and I'm just truly grateful to be a part of the think tank, the brainchild of what's to come, and I think a lot of people in the city, and I am a resident of the city, and I grew up in the communities in the city, have needed some development and growth, right? But they needed the right people to be in the room in order to get it done the right way, right? And we're planning the next 50 years, right? That's right. Of our city. So I'm just grateful to be a part of this group, who's ushering in a new wave of things, a new wave of thinking, and a new level of accountability for all, for ourselves, for the people that live in this community. We're raising the expectations and standards. We want people to grow, right? And in order to continue to live in this city, we all have to grow because change is inevitable. We all have to be prepared for it. So I'm definitely grateful for being a part of the preparation of people, going to another level and living a different way, a better way, right? And it's going to take more in order to get more. So I'm grateful to be a part of that. I'm thankful, and I'm looking forward to 2025 for sure.
They're fortunate to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I almost took a page out of an old playbook. And then I remembered what happened with that. Now, I'll share this very brief Silicon Valley. I used to be the one of 4 vice presidents at STOP organization. For those of you who are not familiar with STOP, it was the largest community action agency in the state. On any given day, we had between 300 and 500 employees, $22 million budget, and the person who was the chair at the time, Louise Lucas, who state senator, started her career as executive director of STOP. Her excellent executive career. But anyway, so we had a board chair who would come to the board meetings, and staff would speak to him. And he was a real nice gentleman from Berkeley. His name was George Manx. And he would say, hey there. He wouldn't know him, but he was trying to give some positive words to him. How you doing? Yeah, you're doing a fine job. You're doing a fine job. Glad to have you here. And he go into the board meeting. So one day he did that. And the executive director, it was like a sister to me, Ms. Edith Jones, she's gone on to be with the Lord. She passed on.
Yeah.
She said, I hate when he does that. I said, why you say that? She said, because I could have just put them out on notice that they about to be fired. Then the board chairman comes along and tells them they're doing a fine job. I'm not going to take that playbook. I will say.
We appreciate that.
I will say that our messaging has improved tremendously because of a hire in that area.
Yes.
And I'm glad that she is on board. Thank you. And I won't call her a name, but I'll leave it at that. Any further comments from anybody? We have, please note future meetings, we have no closed session today. And
All right.
December meeting for the Norfolk Redevelopment Housing Authority is hereby adjourned.
Thank you.
Leah, thank you. Now that the meeting's officially closed.